I have one of those I bought. I think I paid $65 for it. It can filter up to 5,000 gallons of water. So I think I'm pretty good that way.
What is it called?
It's called a Kadyn. I think it's K-A-Y-D or K-A-D-Y-N, Kadyn. If you go on the internet and look under water filters, I sell a little personal water filter. It looks like a sports bottle that has a spout in it. Put water in it, and again, you suck the water out, it filters it out. Same thing, a little ceramic filter, but that's a personal size. That's nice to have in your car for a 72-hour kit, or if you're leaving town kind of thing. Certainly not going to do you a heck of a lot of good if you're at home, when having to do, if you had to do 4 or 5 gallons, you fill it up, squeeze it in. It doesn't come out really fast. You have to squeeze it out. It's not effective. But if you're out backpacking, you fill it up, and then every time you need a drink, you take a drink out of it, and it works that way. So I think it's K-A-D-Y-N, Kadyn. Just go in and put backpacker water filter. And there's all kinds of them, from little hand pump ones to the ones that you sit on your counter that will filter 15 gallons. I think they put 15 gallons of water in it and it filters it out in less than a half an hour. So, and those are about $300. The little ones start around 35 or so, and so they go from about 330 to 300 or more. According to the manufacturer's websites, that water should not be stored for more than 2 years. The shelf life that on is 2 years.
Also, it is good for 2 years.
That's what they say. Yeah, 2 years. What beyond that, I don't know, but that's what they say. And I would take them at their word. I would imagine that 2 years probably would be sufficient. It's a great way to store water. It's a little awkward if you had to carry it, but you could carry it if you had to. And the water is certainly good, and it's pure. And the cap's on it. There is no worries. Let me give you a personal note. You know the little 2.5 gallon, they look like little suitcase water things? If you get those and store them standing up. The seals where the water's up, after about 1.5 years, start to leak. I was on the floor playing with my children going, why is there water coming out from underneath the closet? And go in there and they had started to leak because I laid them on their side. So store them standing up. And the plastic in those, and not in the Arrowhead or the bigger, the tough plastic, those plastic bottles are meant to be reused over and over again. And when you take them back to the plant, they don't throw them away. They clean them, fill them back up, and send them back out. But the ones that you buy at the store, like the milk jug ones or the 2.5 gallon ones, those are consumer products made to deteriorate, and the plastic breaks down over time. They don't store very long. You need to recycle your water. Rotate, 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 rotate. I change my 55-gallon drums about every 6 months, or if I get lazy, once a year. I do it usually on my birthday and my anniversary, or give or take. It also happens to be each session's a conference. So I do it during the Saturday sessions of conference. I run down in between the sessions, empty out my barrels, and put them back in, so that way I know that they're full of water. It doesn't take much. That's the one side. If you have 25 of these, it takes a while to take them out, pour them out, clean them out, put a little, switch a little chlorine in them, clean them out again, fill them back up, cap them back, and put them away. As for this, I just fill it out, pour it out, put it back in. It takes me little or no time. So, like I said, there's a trade-off with what to do. I have, I think, 6 of these in my house. And while I'm doing the big barrels, and with the boys downstairs, the girls are grabbing those and swapping those out, We have one going, emptying into one bathtub, and then they're filling them up in the other bathtub, and so they fill them full of water that way. So rotate the water. It's cheap not to, and there's no reason why you should wonder, wow, I've had this stored now for 2 or 3 years, so I wonder if it's good. So
minimizing risk.
Right, just rotate it. It's not terribly difficult. And if you do it once a year, let's say, and if you skip a year, you're still good. That's an excellent question. The best way to store water is in a cool, dry place. That's not always possible. So, like a 55-gallon drum, you should have it up off the ground. Should be set on 2x4s or something, so it's not sitting directly on the ground or directly on the concrete. Not that the concrete will affect the water, but as you get condensation and that kind of stuff, the concrete, the lye in the concrete will start to eat away the plastic bottom of the barrel. So it shortens the life of your barrel. If it sits in direct sunlight, the sun beats down on it, it tends to make whatever's in there grow. So we don't like that either. So the best thing you do is to put it on the north side of the house. If you don't have that, or, in a garage where I store mine, or you can put them and cover them with a tarp of some sort. The other thing I wanted to show you is the other tools of the trade. This is my excavation and recharging zone my daughter, my wife brought for me. This is the pump that goes in the 55-gallon drum. You put it in there, it's a siphon. You siphon water, pump it a couple times, the water starts flowing out really quite well. This is a wrench that uses to take the top of the barrels off. And then I use this hose because I store mine in the back of my garage, or I guess it would be the front of my garage. And so I have to run the hose out to the front, out to the garage, out to the street to let the water run out. And once you get about halfway full, so it weighs about 180 pounds, you can tilt them over and roll them out and clean them that way. In fact, Andrew, he has one of these pumps, and he calls me one day and goes, "Man, that thing really works."
It works great.
The pump.
Yes.
I mean, the size of the rock is in, right?
Right, and then I also make ones that are similar to this one, that go in like the 5-gallon barrel that you have. Oops, the wrong end. The 5-gallon jug. There are little pumps, siphons that are made for those as well, that will fit on those. And I'll take this one
Buy
out.
those wrenches too, because they're not easy to open, and you're trying to figure out how to open that little thing. Without a wrench, it's not going to be an easy task.
If you'll see on this one, it has a small thread and a larger thread, and there's a little adapter ring in here too. So this can be adapted to fit a wide different variety of pumps should you need it. And we were talking about the different pumps. There's no such thing as a perfect pump. He was complaining that those look a little chintzy and cheap and they might break, and I tend to agree with him. This one is a little better made, but it has a lot smaller outspout, so it would take longer to dump it out. There is no perfect pump. If anybody is an engineer, make me a perfect. Actually, there are, but they're really quite expensive. You can pay 60 or 80 bucks and get a heavy duty one that has a high flow, but they're kind of expensive.
How much are these pumps?
I'm kind of cheap. They're $16.95. Hey, thank you guys very much for coming out tonight. This was the first of this, and my wife kept saying, she goes, "What if nobody comes?" Yeah. I said, "Well, then I'm going to be standing up here speaking to nobody." And I'm glad that you came. Come back next month. We'll do it on the 4th Wednesday next month, and I will send out an email to most everybody who got an email and who is here. And invite your friends to come, and it's a great way of kind of bringing them in and showing them what it has to do.
Did you want to do a sign-in sheet or something?
Pardon?
A sign-in sheet?
I didn't bring one with me because I'm not that smart. I actually, if you want to, if I don't have your email, if you did not receive an email from me, come sign up and I'll make sure you get one. Bring your neighbors. Bring the nothing better to know that your neighbors on either side of you are prepared too. Why? Because that means you won't have to take care of them.